Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Sunday. I hope the weekend is going well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. All back to normal today. Obviously, I wasn't around yesterday. I was having lots of fun being dragged around Chessington World of Adventures by my kids. It's my son's birthday weekend. So yeah, absolutely exhausting. Honestly, my God, so tired. But I am back to normal now, back home, and yeah, back for a usual show. Although I do have his birthday party in about 2 hours time kicking off. So I'm going to have about 12 screaming 9-year-olds running around this house. Yeah, dreading it, but it should still be lots of fun. So anyway, not too much going on at the moment. All very, very quiet Arsenal-wise, because we're slap banging them in the middle of the final international break. A few little bits and pieces to talk about. I wasn't around yesterday, obviously, so I couldn't react to Myles Lewis-Skelly in England. So forgive me, a day late or so, but I'm going to take the opportunity to react to that because that was bloody brilliant. I loved it. Absolutely. I'm not sure I've celebrated an England goal. Certainly not an international tournament as much as I celebrated that goal in the restaurant at Chessington World Adventures in the hotel. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Look, just sort of a little bit of a roundup on what else has been going on international-wise affecting some Arsenal players. Gabriel has returned home early from Brazil. Nothing to worry about, but it is he has returned at home early. So we'll talk about that. Got some a few comments from you guys as well to get stuck into. But before anything, I just want to talk about Myles Lewis-Skelly. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the couple of pictures I put up. First of all, that one there in front of the England flag, which honestly is, I love that picture so much. And then the other picture of him holding his Player of the Match trophy after what was just an absolute dream debut. Now, the last time I did one of these regular shows, I was talking about Myles and saying, I really hope he has, just a brilliant game and shuts up all the absolute idiots who have spent the past week or so just being complete muppets on social media and having a go at him, just so ridiculous because he had the audacity to smile in a photo that England put up on their club website, on their social media channels. And then you just saw all the usual suspects piling in on him in the most ridiculous fashion. As I said at the time, it's just purely racism. It's this absolute issue with this 18-year-old successful young black kid who's loving life, who has the audacity to smile, and for some reason he's cocky, he's punchable, he's chinnable, all those ridiculous comments that we saw underneath that England picture. And I knew it wouldn't affect Myles because he's such a level-headed guy and he takes everything in his stride and nothing phases him. But I was just so hoping he was going to have this sort of moment where he could just rub it all in their faces. And he did exactly that and more. Player of the match, scores on his debut, becomes the youngest ever English player to score on his debut. Only the third, he's the third youngest England player, I think, of all time to score, behind only Owen and Rooney. I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that. And as I said, when I was watching that goal on my phone, streaming it at a restaurant in Chessington World Adventures in the hotel, and my wife was like, what is it? Because I just screamed out when he scored. She was like, thought something serious had happened. And I was just like, Myles has just scored on his debut. I was just so happy that he had a moment like that, and to go on to play well, to get Player of the Match. He's not even silencing the idiots, because I don't think he will care about the idiots, because he's, as I said, nothing phases him. He's so level-headed. He's got such a brilliant sort of network around him, his family, his mum, and I love the videos of his mum celebrating in the crowd. So, but I think just for us more than anything, just to be able to, what I was just, all I was imagining was those idiots at home fuming that he'd scored. It was like, oh no, it's him. And I just love that. I love the fact that he's just rammed it down their throats. Like, I'm here, this is me. I am in this England team and I am proud of it. And the smile on his face, the interview he did with Declan Rice afterwards on the pitch, the joy that he was speaking with in that interview with Declan Rice, it was just 2.5 minutes. I couldn't stop smiling the whole way about it. You could see how proud Declan Rice was of him. You could just see the pride beaming out of Myles Lewis-Skelly when he was being told the fact that only Owen and Rooney had scored younger than him. And, he couldn't stop laughing. He's just had this unbelievable season, the season we all dream of. You imagine you're an 18-year-old kid, probably don't even really consider yourself first team member when you start the season. You're thinking maybe you might get some minutes this season, but you don't want to get ahead of yourself, anything like that. That would have been Lewis-Skelly at the start of the season. And now suddenly, a season later, he's an established player in the Arsenal first team. Basically, first choice left back. He's got ahead of a £30 million, £35 million summer signing. His first choice left back in the Arsenal team. He's made his way into the England team. He scores on his debut at Wembley. He gets player of the match. I mean, it's just fairy tale stuff from Lewis-Skelly, and it's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to see. I loved it. Absolutely, as you can probably tell. So yeah, great for him. Great for Arsenal. Great for Hale End. What a brilliant thing for all the young players at Hale End now sitting there watching the game on Friday, and with dreams of being able to do something that Lewis-Skelly has done, and they can see it, happening in front of their eyes. I mean, the belief that gives you, like, this is possible. Yes, it might feel like there's a huge long road ahead of me as a sort of 16, 17-year-old kid at Hale End Academy, thinking, how am I going to force my way into the first team? But they just have to look at what Lewis-Skelly's done, look at what Ethan Nwaneri's doing, and they can see it is possible. Anything's possible. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, you're going to have to work incredibly hard, and you're going to have to take your opportunity when it arrives. But it is possible. And what Lewis-Skelly is doing this season and continuing to do, it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I was made up for him. So yeah, congratulations to Myles Lewis-Skelly and his family, of course, and Arsenal and everyone at Hale End, who I'm sure are very, very proud. Right, moving on to other sort of bits and pieces during the international break. Now, Gabriel has returned home early for Arsenal. And if you haven't heard this yet and you're suddenly like, oh my God, what's happened? No need to panic. It's good news. The only reason he's not returned home because of an injury ahead of their game against Argentina. So it's a blow for him because he would have absolutely wanted to play in this game. But for a completely selfish point of view, I have to say the prospect of Gabriel not playing against Argentina in a game that's going to be that physical and intense, and with the rivalry and everything like that, I'm quite happy that we can just sort of not worry about anything happening to Gabriel in that game. He got booked in Brazil's game a couple of days ago, which means he's suspended for the next game. And rather than staying, he's coming back. Some other English players coming back. I think Bruno's coming back early. Alisson has got sort of head injury in their last game, so he can't play this upcoming match because of concussion issues. He's coming back early. So I think all three of them are just going to fly back together themselves early, and so it's good for Arsenal, no doubt about it. Bad for Gabriel, I'm sure he wanted to play in this game. For Arsenal, it's a boost. There's no injury to worry about. It's just coming back early, and now he can just really start to prepare for what's to come, obviously. And we've got still, what we're on Sunday now, we've still got 9 days to Arsenal back in action with that match against Fulham. So lots and lots of rest for Gabriel to really sort of get himself ready to go ahead of what's such a crucial period of the season coming up for Arsenal, where the two big games against Real Madrid are right there, looming large, and he gets a nice little bit of rest to go with now. So yeah, good news on Gabriel. As I said, you see the sort of headlines, Gabriel's is coming back. Nothing to worry about. It's good news on him. Players sort of coming back too early is a bit of a familiar theme of this international break. Obviously, now Ricardo Calafiori has come back early after that knee injury he suffered for Italy in their game against the Netherlands. Now, the hope is that this is not as serious as it first looked. Last time I did one of these videos, obviously it just happened the night before, and all we just saw the videos, saw the replays of the incident, and it was like, oh my God, that looks horrifically bad, the way he went down. But at the moment, and he's come back for Arsenal, and he's been assessed by himself. He's been assessed by Italy. They've sent him home because they knew he wasn't going to play in the next game. But the word from Italy was that it's not too bad, potentially 2-3 weeks, maybe he's got a chance of playing in the first leg against Real Madrid. Arsenal continuing that assessment of him now at London Colney, but the hope is that is going to be the case, and we're going to see Ricardo Calafiori back soon. I would imagine Fulham is going to be too early for him, potentially even the Everton game as well. But if you can get him available for Real Madrid, I don't think he would have started against Real Madrid anyway. So, but you would definitely want him on the bench, because I think we're certainly going to see between now and the end of the season, if everyone's fit, we're going to see Mikel very heavily rotate the fullbacks, I think, in terms of one of them starting and then some of them coming on for 30 minutes. So you hope he'll be back for that Real Madrid game, but it's not looking too bad when it comes to Calafiori. Timber wasn't involved in that game against Italy through illness, so he's also come back which is probably a wise thing from the Dutch point of view. They don't want any sickness sort of sweeping through the camp. And he's come back to Arsenal as well. I would suggest that he's probably staying away from London Colney right now, because the last thing Mikel Arteta or the coaching staff would want is an ill player coming in. We've already had that this season with illness sweeping through the training ground. You don't really want that again. So I imagine he was probably staying away until he gets back fit. There's no reason to rush him back. As I said, we're still a long way away from the Fulham game. So make sure he's healthy, stays away, no germ spreading, please, during, and then he can come back as well. So internationals, not quite as many involved for Arsenal in this second batch of the internationals than we thought we were going to be in terms of the first, but fingers crossed. That is a good thing. Martin Odegaard did play last night for Arsenal, for Norway, played very, very well actually. Sort of looking at how he was rated by the Norwegian media after the game, they were very impressed. It was a comfortable win for them, 5-0 against Moldova, I think it was. He got an assist in that game, played very well. Watched a compilation of some of his best bits in that match, and some lovely little tricks from him. A couple of lovely nutmegs. Unlucky, I don't know if it's the right word to describe it. Had a couple of shooting chances, put one over, put one wide. One was deflected just wide as well. I think he'll probably be a little bit disappointed he didn't score in the game, but it was a good performance for him, and he did get an assist as well. Right, this is what we've got to come tonight. Obviously, this is before this sort of list was designed, before we knew about Timber and before we knew about Calafiori. So these are the Arsenal players to watch out for tonight. We've got France versus Croatia in the Nations League. So William Saliba in action, potentially there from the start. No Calafiori now. So Germany versus Italy does not have any Arsenal representation in it. Scotland in action against Greece. Big game for them in Glasgow. Kieran Tierney was a substitute in the first game between those sides a few days ago. We'll see if he gets a start tonight or not. We've got Mikel Merino, fresh from scoring that late equaliser against the Netherlands a couple of days ago, and David Raya potentially in action for Spain against the Netherlands, who do not have Jurien Timber, of course. And then we've got Belgium versus Ukraine, Trossard versus Zinchenko to keep our eyes on in that game. Again, fingers crossed we get no more fresh injury news from any of those players who are involved in their fixtures. Just before we move on to a couple of comments and questions now. Arsenal women, good win for them in front of 35,000 plus at the Emirates yesterday, 4-0 against Liverpool. 5 points, I think, now behind Chelsea, but Chelsea do have a game in hand. It's very, very, you can't really talk about a title race in the WSL. That Chelsea have got it wrapped up, barring an unbelievable collapse, but Arsenal continue to impress. I mean, look at that stat there on the right-hand side if you're watching on YouTube. Arsenal now the first team in WSL history to score 4 or more goals in 6 consecutive home games. So that's the standard they are set in at the moment, certainly at home, and a very, very dominant, comfortable win from all accounts. I didn't get to see it yesterday because as I said, I was chasing my kids around Chessington all day, or being dragged around Chessington is probably a better way of describing it. But yeah, good win for the women, 4-0. A couple of own goals in there for Liverpool, who had a very, very tough afternoon, but Arsenal dominant by all accounts. So well done to the women. Right, a couple of things to sort of close on now. A couple of comments from you guys. Obviously, lots of you getting in touch. Some nice things to say. Seems like you all enjoyed myself and James's Inside Arsenal Extra Time focusing on Andrea Berta that went out yesterday. So thank you very much for that. Interesting couple of sort of difference in opinions here on the goalkeeper that we were talking about yesterday in that show, where it's just like, do Arsenal really need to sign Juan Garcia for 25 million this summer? We both had our reservations about it. A couple of difference in opinions, as I said. We've got Untold Football here who says, really don't get the issue with getting Garcia. I would argue it's an important signing. We need a backup who can do what our number one does. Really, it is that simple, and Mikel will play him if he's good enough to challenge Raya, unlike Ramsdale and Neto, who are not. And then KA below that says, the goalkeeper signing is stupid. We have a keeper for the next 5 years. We have pressing issues for the starting 11 at 9, 6, left 8, left wing. We need pace, explosiveness, and to that we have pressing issues with a lack of emerging talents outside 49 and Ethan and Max, but he's 3 years away. I think it's safe to say Myles and Ethan are elite talents, but the lack of pace and explosiveness, and the best way to get that solved is to invest in top tier young talents, a bit like what PSG have done. So differences in opinion. My thing with a goalkeeper is, is it's just the money involved on a backup keeper. And I know you say if he's good enough, he'll play. I just don't really envisage a way that he's going to play many games yesterday. I know it is an important sign, and you do need a number two who you're very, very you have a lot of trust in, and that's been Arsenal's issue in the past. So I'm not totally against it. It's just the money, and if that money stops us being able to invest more, as KA says there, in sort of areas that I feel a little bit more pressing this summer than signing another backup keeper. The one plus point is if you do get Garcia, then hopefully that is a goalkeeper situation sorted for the next few years, because it is annoying every single summer. We seem to be get to the summer and it's like Arsenal have got to sign another goalkeeper. And it's just sort of rinse, repeat over and over again for the last few summers. And if you can get the Garcia deal done, and then you do have Raya, Garcia, and then either, I don't know, Setford as a sort of set number 3, then you've kind of got the keeper situation finally sorted and solved, and you don't have to worry about it again next summer. And if you just go down a more sort of experienced old number 2 route, maybe this time next summer you're in that situation again where you've got to sort goalkeeper out. So that's the one sort of plus point from it, is just sorting the situation, getting it done, and then not having to worry about it for a few years. So I'm not totally against it. My issue is just like, do you really need to be investing that sort of money? But look, if he's good and it it sorts it out, and then he really does start to challenge David Raya, then fair enough. I'm not absolutely against it, but I do feel maybe Carl Hein for a season or two might be okay as number 2, but obviously I'm not running the football club. And Tay Sense here says, any chance Berto is watching the England-France under-21s game? Watch the highlights to see if any Arsenal players or prospects featured, and all my eyes drawn to Etiki from, I can never pronounce his name right, Etiki. Someone tell me how to pronounce it properly. The young France kid, obviously playing in Germany, who Arsenal have been linked with heavily. You say would not mind adding a player of that stature to the squad one little bit. I know the Premier League is a much higher level than 21s football, but we are desperate for a striker who can sniff out goals. And the way it went about his hat-trick last night, all fox in the box type goals. Would love to hear that we're in for him. Well, Arsenal have been linked with him. I haven't heard that the interest is absolutely, definitely genuine. But what he's doing in Germany this season, the amount of goals he's scoring, the fact that it looks like he is looking for a move this summer, him and his people are looking for a move this summer, then Arsenal's name is certainly being mentioned as a possible target, but that's because everyone knows Arsenal do need a forward. But interesting to see who he does go to. But he's doing his harm, no chances at all of getting himself a big move, because he's having such a big season in Germany, and the fact he's doing it on an international stage, albeit for the under-21s as well. So any chance Berta was watching? Probably was, because that's his job. Does that mean Arsenal will actually go out and try and sign him? I don't know. How old is he? Let me just have a look. Hugo Ekiti is 22 years old, obviously. I think he's on about 35 goals and assists this season in all competitions as well. So yeah, doing good things. We'll wait and see if Arsenal do have their eyes on him, but I still think Sesko, well, Isak as well, obviously, but Isak, as I've said in loads of times, just feels very, very unlikely, but certainly feels like Sesko is the number 1 target when it comes to improving in attack. But that's it from me today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your time as always on this Sunday. Have a great end to the weekend wherever you are around the world. I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Have a good one, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.